Hey everybody, welcome to Breakfast with Bob from Challenge Daytona in the PTO 2020 Championship. Name is Bob Babbitt, brought to you by Captiva Spine, John Hall Chevrolet, USA Triathlon, Foundation Risk Partners in the PTO, the Pro Triathletes Organization, and kicking this off with a true legend of the sport of triathlon, Mr. Javier Gómez, Olympic silver medalist. My favorite stat is from 2007 to 2019 on the World Championship podium 11 times in 13 seasons. That's unbelievable. Javi, how you doing?
Very good, Bob. How are you? It's great to be.
I'm spectacular. So this race, when I look at it, pretty flat bike course, probably not totally set up for Javier Gómez.
Yeah, that's definitely not my favorite, a totally flat bike course. The first time that I see the venue right now, and it's quite impressive anyway. It's even though it might not suit my strengths, but I've been training for it, and it's a great location for a race. And
right.
I'm really excited about having such a great field of athletes competing in this very challenging year, and so we get to do a big race, and that's awesome. So I'm looking forward to it.
Also, you renew a rivalry with Mr. Alistair Brownlee. How many times do you think you've raced that guy?
I don't know. It's been over a decade already.
Yes.
I remember racing him for the first time probably in 2007. Well, he was still a young kid, so was not really a contender yet. But soon after that, since 2009, we had great battles, especially in ITU racing.
Yes.
And then also half Ironman, but mainly the ITU ones. And it was great. I think it made us both better athletes.
No question.
Because I was kind of dominating at that point, and then he came and he was faster than everyone else, and I had to go back home and figure out how to try to beat this guy, and it made me give my 100% and improve, and I think that was good for the sport as well.
No question about it. And when I look at the variety of the events that you've won, obviously all the ITU events and winning Ironman events and winning a couple of 70.3 World Championships, winning Xterra World Championship. In terms of that balance, trying to balance all that, how hard has that been?
Yeah, I mean, when you have a long career, I guess you need to keep looking for motivation for things, right, and get yourself out of your comfort zone and try different things. And even though I was mainly focused in ITU and my biggest success has been in ITU, I always love to experience different things. The Xterra I only did once, but with a great result, winning the World Championships, or 70.3 was a distance that I always loved, and I started to do back in 2013-14, combining with ITU, and eventually long course racing since 2018. I was more focused on that.
Right.
Last year I won an Ironman as well, so it was fun to keep yourself motivated with different type of events. And even though now I'm more focused on Olympic distance again, having the Olympic Games next year,
yes,
hopefully. But I think 70.3 distance, half distance, and Olympic is something you can combine. As an athlete like myself, that's I'm not a big fan of sprint races, so probably longer races than Olympic suit me a bit better. So yeah, and I enjoy the training for both, on the TT bike, on the road bike. And
right.
It's been great.
What are your thoughts on the Collins Cup? The whole idea of next May, you guys will be in Samarin. You will have the Europeans, the internationals, and the Americans all going head to head.
I think it's a great concept, and it will be very interesting for spectators, for the people to follow the race, and having that kind of racing format. The best in Europe, the best in America, and the rest of the world, and on another really fast course.
Yes.
And I think it's great. It's, the PTO is bringing some innovation to the sport,
mm-hmm,
and making it even more interesting and more professional, I would say. So, it's great to be part of all that.
And $1.15 million. Mm-hmm. Is this the biggest prize money race you've been in?
Probably. Well, there's been, the old days in
Hy-Vee,
was
like
a great
that,
event. But this is great. It goes very deep in the field, the prize money, which is great for everyone to be professional. Yes. Everyone racing here is gonna get prize money.
Yeah, everybody gets $2,500. It doesn't matter what.
And because many of the best in the world are here, so even if you finish 30th or 40th, doesn't mean you're not a good athlete. You're one of the best in the world still. Right. So it's good that you still get prize money, and that's that's a big difference with this race. Obviously, if you win, it's a great prize money as well.
Right.
But it's good that it goes deep in the field, so everyone can feel it. As a true professional.
I also love the fact that the distance is unique, right? So we've got it's close to a 50-mile bike ride and a little over 11-mile run, a 1.2-mile swim. So you got the Ironman guys, you got the 70.3 guys, you got the ITU guys. Yeah. It's a little bit of a mixture.
I think the distance was a great decision and now you see with the Starleys, having the best of ITU and the best of long distance racing together, and that makes it even more interesting. There are some things that in favor of the ITU athletes, like a bit longer swim and maybe the run. Other things better for long distance guys, like a totally flat course. We're in the time trial position. And still kind of about 3 hours something race. So it will be good for both worlds, short and long distance. So it's going to be a great show to watch.
When you came to the Ironman a couple years ago, to World Championship, obviously as a guy who's been in the sport for so long, just being on that starting line had to be pretty cool for you. What did you take away from that experience? Because obviously getting 11th is not Javier Gómez. You want to be you want to win the race.
Yeah, definitely. Kona was not the result that I was hoping for or that I trained for, but it's a very you know that very well. It's a very difficult race. Yeah. It's for the first time. I think you need to race probably a few times and get comfortable with the heat, the conditions, the course, the race dynamics, and made a few mistakes. And I think it was a great learning year experience. And last year, I raced in similar conditions, obviously a very different race in Malaysia, a very different level, but I managed my nutrition, my hydration much better. And I had a good race there. So I know that when I go back to Kona, I will be able to prepare the race better than the last time, with more experience and more knowledge about what to do to try to give my best. But it was great. It was a great year, I was already 35 or 35 years old, and when I felt like a young kid again, like trying new things and doing something different that I wasn't used to. So it was very refreshing as well. For 2019 to go back to short course, I felt a bit refreshed from being doing something different for a bit.
So when you were younger and you were dealing with a heart issue, and there was a number of years where you weren't allowed to race. When you were allowed to race again, was your attitude change? Was it almost like, I can race again, I just love doing this?
Yeah, I think all the problems that I had to face when I was 17, 18 years old with a heart issue, that the doctors and the federation wouldn't let me race. And so that
I understand that. They're worried about your safety.
Yeah, they were worried. And then we had to, I went to different doctors, and then it became a legal battle more than a medical issue, because the medical part was very clear. And, when you are that age and you have your hopes of trying to be a good athlete and you're excited about what the future is going to bring, and then it puts you down, and it's really hard to get up from that. But like most of the problems, when you have a problem, then if you eventually overcome it, makes you stronger. And that thing that made me stronger, made me appreciate more the fact of being in the start line, being able to race, being able to train. Yeah. And my attitude changed a little bit. I used to get really nervous when I was a kid at the races, and then after that, I was like, well, I'm a start line. I'm doing what I want, so let's enjoy it, And even though there's some nerves there, but I was really appreciative of just being able to race.
And was 2008 your first Olympics?
Yes. I missed the team in 2004, even though at the World Championships that year I was 8th, and I was the youngest guy probably racing that World Championship. At the Spanish team, they made a team to support Ivan Raña, who was our main guy back then. And
they went with the domestique idea.
With a couple of domestiques, so I didn't make the team, and that was quite frustrating. So my first Olympics were at Beijing.
And Beijing, you went in as the overwhelming favorite, right? Everybody thought, Javi's going to win this race.
Yeah, and I had a great season, probably too good at the beginning of the year. I was too fit in March, April, winning everything that I was racing, all the World Cups, and won my first world title that year, a couple of months before the Olympics in Vancouver. And there I got injured, actually. So from that point, the last couple of months of preparation, I struggled with an injury, and probably my fault of, when you want to push too hard and you want to get better and better, you always think that you can improve, and when you're already very fit, it's very hard to do that. So it was my mistake. And I wasn't at my 100% of the Olympics. I didn't race well. I did the best I could, which was enough to be fourth, but not to win the race.
It was pretty fascinating because I remember watching video of that race. I remember watching it live, and here you had, there was like three of you, and then here comes Simon Whitfield, right? And then he just goes.
Yes.
And then it was like everybody scattering, and then Jan takes off. It was crazy that last 200 meters.
Yeah, Simon was amazing. And when I look back at that race, I wasn't very fit, but Simon was dropping all the time from the three of us. So it was most of the race. It was Jan and Bevan Doherty, myself, and Simon like 50 to 100 meters back. And then we would slow down, and then he would catch up, and then we'd drop again. And my mistake, I think, because I wasn't going to beat Simon on a sprint finish, it was very fast. It's like the last K, we slowed down quite a bit, kind of trying to get some air before the final sprint, and that allowed Simon to catch again. And then he had an amazing sprint, and I was the fourth guy, so it was quite tough, when you are supposed to win and everyone tells you that you have to win, and you have such a great year, and then you don't perform at your best level in that race. It's hard, but it's something that happens in sport, and another learning experience, and just move forward.
That Olympic experience, the first, had to be pretty special, just being there.
Yeah, it's special. It's a totally different event. The race itself is the same. You're racing the same guys on the same course, and of course I raced before, but everything around it is very special, and being able to be with other athletes and the hype around the event is just unbelievable. So, and one hand it was a great experience, and the other hand it wasn't that good because of my result. But yeah, I mean, when I look back now, it's it was great to be part of that, and again, a lot of learning towards the next one in London, where I had a good race. Yeah.
Well, you had a great race in London, getting the silver medal, and in between the two Brownlees, and again, you and Alistair going head to head.
Yeah, I think both the Brownlees and I think the same, that it was the best Olympic distance triathlon ever, the fastest race ever. The run, I think, was the fastest I ever ran.
Did he ran 29 flat or something?
Yeah, 29 flat, and the bike was pretty fast as well. The swim was really fast with Varga pushing the pace, and the group broke straight away already in the water, and it's a race that when I look back, I think I did the best I was capable of.
Absolutely.
I had a great swim. I was second out of the water. I was in control on the bike, and I played tactically very well. And then I ran, I think, the best that I could run on that day, and Alistair was just better.
Low 29s.
Yeah, low 29s. Alistair was 5-7 seconds
And that
faster.
one was actually a course that was real. That was a real.
It was real. It was measured by the athletics federation. So it was a proper 10K, and I think Alistair went 29:07. I went 29:15, and so I was happy with that performance, and with the silver medal. When someone is better than you in the day, there's not much you can do about it.
When you have a race like that, and you can just tip your hat and say, he was better. I did everything I could. I made no mistakes.
Yeah.
That's all you can do.
That's all you can do, and just go home and try to train harder or different or better to hopefully the next time you can beat him. But I was satisfied with that race, and however, Beijing, I knew that I wasn't at my best level.
Right.
Even the year before, when it was a World Cup on the same course, I ran much faster than in the Olympics. So I knew that I was capable of more, but I got injured, and which is part of the journey. It was my fault when you don't prepare things properly, I guess, or when you tend to overtrain, and that's a risk that you have of getting injured. But when I look at that race, I see that I wasn't performing at my best, and in London I think I performed at my best level.
No question. So if someone told you going into the 2008 Olympics that Jan Frodeno was going to become one of the most decorated triathletes of all time, was going to go win the Ironman 3 times and hold the course record, would you have been surprised?
Well, a little bit surprised, because he ended up being, he's one of the greatest of all time. And back in the day, he was definitely one of the good guys in ITU, and he had lots of podiums in World Cups. So he was always a guy who could win a race.
Right.
And but even that year when he was Olympic champion, the main German, it wasn't him, it was Daniel Unger, who was the world champion the year before in Hamburg. And I guess Danny had all the pressure, and Jan was a bit,
under the radar.
That's under
nice
the radar.
To do.
And then he performed on the day, and he had a great race in Beijing, won the Olympic medal. And after that, I guess that gave him more confidence to keep. He has some other good ITU races, and then when he stepped up to Ironman, he proved that he was the distance that probably suited him better.
Right.
And when you have such a talented ITU guy and his body adapts well to long distance, and that's what happens. You dominate and Kona the way he does, and that's quite impressive. Yeah.
And what gets me too is guys are racing faster at 38, 39, 40 than ever before. You see yourself, because you're what, 37?
I'm 37, yeah.
37, and you're a guy who deals with heat really well. So, I mean, you could be doing Ironman for another 5-6 years if you wanted to.
Yeah, I don't know how long, but I think the late 30s, early 40s, even if you don't get injured, if you still have the passion and the if you still want to go out every day and train and give your best, I think your body still responds and you still can achieve great results, as we are seeing with Jan. He must be 39 or 40 already, and other guys are performing really well at that age. So it's just a matter of looking after your body, don't get injured, train properly, and for an 8-hour race, it doesn't matter if you lose a bit of speed because you don't really need it. And I think you still can perform well, and I believe that I still have a few good years ahead, especially in long distance.
There's no question about that. What would it mean to you to win this race with 100K for first place?
Well, it would be great, obviously, for anyone racing here. I think obviously prize money is really good, but you want to win a race when the best in the world are there, and most of the best in the world are here. So that's what you think of when you're racing. It's exciting to race Alistair, race Vincent Lewis, to race Sanders, the best in long course, the best in short course, and then if there's a great prize money, even better. But it's the fact of racing the best one what excites me, and it would be amazing, especially, as I said before, in a tough year like this, that we didn't have many races or many opportunities to race the best ones. So I think it's a great thing to be able to be part of this race.
So for this next year, you've got the Olympics in Tokyo. Now, you're already on the team. Is that something you have to go qualify? What's up on that?
Not officially yet, but I hope I'll be in the team after my results in 2019, where I finished third in the World Series. And that's going to be my goal until July. I'll be focused on Olympic distance, and after that, I guess the rest of my career will go towards long distance and Kona. So it's pretty exciting.
With Malaysia, with that win, right? Is that you're in for 20?
I mean, I'm qualified, so that's good. I could do it after Olympics
if you feel like it.
If I wanted to, and we'll see how the year goes. But it's a possibility to be there.
Love it. Javi, as always, thank you for always being so generous with your time and what you've done for the sport. Have you seen a huge growth in the sport in Spain?
Yes, and I've been racing for 20 years, and the sport is completely different now than it was in the late 90s when I started, or even just 10 years ago. Yeah. It's getting a popular sport. We have lots of races, lots of clubs, kids, and triathlon people, like coaches and everyone trying to support the sport, and it's great to see. It's great to see the growth of the sport in Spain and having some more media attention as well. And I'm proud of being part of it.
Love it. Javier Gómez has been our guest, everybody. Hold on. We will be right back.